Alleluia. Christ is risen. The Lord is risen indeed. Alleluia. Good morning on this blessed Easter Sunday. Glad that you're here. Since we can't be together in person, I wanted to at least be able to share my Easter message with you in this way. And I know that in this strange time, we are balancing both the incredible joy of the resurrection, but also the uncertainty of the time in which we are living. And so it is with that perspective that I wanted to share with you my thoughts on Matthew's take on the resurrection. And Matthew writes in chapter 28, after the Sabbath, as the first day of the week was dawning, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to see the tomb. And suddenly there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descending from heaven came and rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothing was white as snow. For fear of him, the guards shook and became like dead men. But the angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid. I know that you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, for he has been raised, as he said. Come, see the place where he is laid. Then go quickly and tell his disciples, he has been raised from the dead, and indeed he is going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him. This is my message for you." So they left the tomb with fear and great joy and ran to tell his disciples. Suddenly Jesus met them and said, "Greetings." Came to him, took hold of his feet, and worshiped him. Then Jesus said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go, tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There they will see me." I want to read again verse 8. So they left the tomb quickly with fear and great joy and ran to tell his disciples. Fear and great joy. The experience at the tomb of Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James and Joseph, the mixing of fear and joy in one, is, I think, an experience many of us know quite well. Great joy is often the partner of intense fear. We ride roller coasters for the joy born of fear. New parents live with intense joy and boundless fear as they navigate their responsibility for a new life. Moving to a new city can be filled with joy and fear, as can be starting a new job or vocation or falling in love. I've experienced all of those, but I've never considered approaching Easter in the same way. With joy, absolutely, of course. With joy and fear, not until this year. So this morning, I'm thankful for these women who remind me transformation is often the product of seeking joy through facing fear. These women, who were the first disciples, they felt joy and fear upon hearing the news that their greatest hopes had come true, that their deepest prayers had answered. That they felt joy tells us something of their faith, their trust that what they had heard was true. Resurrection was what they had been told to expect. So their joy is their heart's response to the fulfillment promise from God. That they felt fear tells us of their uncertainty of what it would look like exactly, when they would prove that it had happened, what it would look like, and what it would mean for the rest of their lives. So, resurrection and new, and I am uncertain of when, how I will know, when I will get proof, and what it will mean for the rest of life. At this moment in the pandemic, all I can hear is the earthquake that the women heard. I do not yet see that one has been rolled away. I do not know how this death dealer of a virus will ultimately be overcome. And I do not know what the world will look like on the other side of it all. I do not know what I will look like on the other side of it all. Right now, though, I hear the earthquake the women heard, and like them approaching the tomb, I do not yet know what it means. There are tectonic plates shifting under our feet. Priorities have been shifted. Focus has been narrowed. Injustices have been highlighted, and relationships have been strengthened, and they have been strained. There are many things this earthquake of COVID-19 is rearranging in the world. And there are moments in the midst of it all where my heart feels as though it is the fault line. I know that some of the grumblings from beneath my feet that I hear are actually shifts that bring new life into the world. These are rumblings that will show ultimately that death did not win, that love did, as love always does. Day by day, there are reports of this giant stone being rolled away bit by bit. The ground shakes as the stone is pushed aside by a million different hands who are treating and reaching and caring and serving and sowing and feeding and loving. This stone, too large for any one person to roll away, it's meeting its match with a love that is stronger and bigger. It is a love that was there all the time, though all too dormant, until fear woke it up like the spring flowers that have pushed their way back up through the earth yet once again. I pray this love never goes back to sleep. I pray that brings me great joy. Its receding into complacency, however, gives me reason to fear. There are some in the world who say they can't wait for things to go back to the way they were before. Oh, my friends, I'm not one of them. I want things to be better. We are sacrificing far too much to learn hard lessons, for those lessons to be forgotten when a trip to the grocery store becomes once again simply an errand that needs doing. We are in this time learning what our priorities must be, and it is revealing what they have been. But what do we want them to be? And how we spend our time returns to being a choice we make rather than a choice that has been made for us. Of a world being more loving, more just, filled with more mercy and reconciliation, that fills my heart with joy and fear. My joy tells me I believe it could be true. My fear tells me I don't yet know what it will look like or what it will mean or ask and require of me. For the two leaving the tomb and for the disciples who come to believe later, everything has changed. The immense power of the Roman oppressor now pales in comparison to the power of their God. They will move from this moment knowing just what their God can do in lives. But what else might God do in their lives? It's enough to fill one with joy and with fear. I can't ever remember a time when we, as a global community, were challenged to celebrate Easter while still unsure when the stone would be rolled away. Sure, some of us have been. Sadness and grief do not submit to the liturgical calendar. But this is a real first for me in my life. We are celebrating Easter not as the disciples walking and eating and talking with the risen Christ, but as the women who approach the tomb, knowing only that there has been certain death and holding on to a hope for certain life. We celebrate this Easter with the women as they leave the tomb, certain that death did not get the last word, yet still uncertain of what life would look like, even mean, from this time forward. Joy and fear. This scary time we are in will end. Joy. We do not yet know when it will. Fear. This pandemic will leave us as a global community changed forever, and we do not yet know how. Joy and fear. This experience will change us and our children in ways that could make us more of who it is God made us to be, or less. Joy and fear. The question for us to consider this morning is, how would we like to be different on the other side of COVID-19? How might you like your family to be different? Your community, your church? What might our lives look like on the other side if we allow God to shape it? Can you, right now, imagine a day on the other side? On the other side of the empty tomb, on the other side of this pandemic, my priorities are aligned with God's desires and my life. That is my prayer for me on the other side. On the other side, I am more attention to what really matters. I am remembering that I was never alone, though there were times that I felt like I was. On the other side, the homeless are beloved. People of color are treated in every corner of their lives as the children of God that they are. On the other side, people are still saying hi to each other on the street, and we are waiting patiently in line at the grocery store, simply grateful for a shopping cart full of the groceries we came in to get. On the other side, I am thankful every day for the love I have in my life from my family, my friends, my community, and my God. On the other side, there is new life waiting for me and waiting for you. My faith assures me that that is true, and I am joyful. I do not yet know how or when, and yeah, that makes my heart beat just a little bit faster. I am on the roller coaster. I am in many ways starting a new job. I am emotionally and spiritually moving to a new town. Most certainly, I am falling in love. Right now, the ground shakes. The stone in the empty tomb resists easy removal, but it is moving. Jesus is not held captive. He is risen, just as he said he would be. Alleluia! Christ is risen. The Lord is risen indeed. Alleluia. Easter blessings to you all.